Alien officer saw a bulge and thought he was hiding something, and she was partially right. The gleaming corridors of Starbase Primus hummed with the quiet efficiency of advanced alien technology. Jasper Scale, a human trader with a muscular build and short dark hair, strode confidently through the station's pristine hallways. His white V-neck t-shirt and black tactical pants cut a striking figure against the metallic backdrop of the station's interior. Security officer Gyra Thon watched him approach her checkpoint through crystalline eyes, her light blue skin seeming to pulse with an inner radiance. Her silver blue hair cascaded down her shoulders, contrasting beautifully with her form-fitting armored uniform. As the human drew closer, she straightened her posture, projecting an air of professional authority. "A halt for inspection," she commanded, her melodic voice carrying a hint of steel. "Station protocols require all visitors to submit to security screening." Jasper stopped, offering a disarming smile. "Of course, officer. I've got nothing to hide." Gyrathan activated her scanner, the device emitting a soft blue glow as she began her inspection. Her eyes narrowed as she detected an anomaly. "Sir, I'm reading an unusual mass concentration in your lower body area. Please explain." Jasper shifted uncomfortably, aware of his body's natural reaction to the attractive alien officer's proximity. "I can assure you it's nothing illegal. Nevertheless, we'll need to conduct a more thorough examination," she stated firmly. "Please follow me to the private screening room." The small chamber was clinically lit, with smooth white walls and a single examination table. Gyrathan sealed the door behind them, her professional demeanor masking her growing curiosity. "Remove your pants, please," she instructed, maintaining her composure, despite the intimate nature of the request. Jasper complied, his cheeks flushing slightly. As the truth of the situation became apparent, Gyrathan's own face took on a silvery pink hue. She quickly averted her eyes, struggling to maintain her professional facade. "I see," she managed on clearing her throat. "Normally our procedures would require a complete cavity search, but I believe we can make an exception in this case." A hint of humor crept into her voice. "You appear to be adequately explained." Jasper couldn't help but chuckle, breaking the tension. "Well, I appreciate your thoroughness, officer, though I have to admit, this isn't how I typically introduce myself to beautiful women." Gyrathan found herself smiling despite her best efforts to remain stern. "Flattery will not excuse you from proper security protocols, Mr. Scale. Jasper Scale," he replied, redressing himself, "and I wouldn't dream of trying to circumvent your duties." What started as an awkward security check evolved into something unexpected as they began to talk. Gyrathan discovered that Jasper wasn't just another cocky human traitor. He was intelligent, witty, and surprisingly well-versed in xenocultural studies. Their conversation flowed naturally, touching on everything from interstellar politics to the challenges of cross-species communication. "You know," Gyrathan said, checking her chronometer with reluctance, "my shift ends in 20 minutes. Perhaps you'd like to continue this discussion over a drink? The station has an excellent observation lounge." Jasper's eyes lit up. "I'd like that very much, Officer Gyrathan." "Please," she smiled, her bioluminescent skin pulsing softly. "Call me Gyra." The observation lounge of Starbase Primus offered a breathtaking panoramic view of the surrounding star system. Jasper and Gyra sat at a secluded table near the curved viewport, their drinks casting subtle prismatic reflections across the polished surface between them. "So," Gyra began, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with interest, "what brings a human trader to this particular sector? We're rather off the beaten path." Jasper took a sip of his Centaurian whiskey, appreciating how the lounge's ambient lighting played across Gyra's silvery blue hair. "Actually, I've been investigating a series of mysterious cargo disappearances along the outer rim trading routes. Ships vanishing without a trace, no distress signals, just gone." Gyra leaned forward, her professional instincts piqued. "That's interesting. We've had similar reports come through security channels. The Council's been keeping it quiet to prevent panic, but..." She glanced around before continuing in a lower voice. 3 merchant vessels have disappeared in this sector alone over the past month." "3?" Jasper's eyebrows rose. "That's more than I'd heard about. Any patterns?" "All human-operated vessels," Gyra confirmed, her crystalline eyes meeting his. "Which is why your presence here caught my attention even before the inspection incident." Jasper couldn't help but grin at the memory, noting how Gyra's skin flickered with a subtle pink hue. "Well, officer, I'm glad my anatomy could be of service in breaking the ice." She laughed, a melodious sound that sent pleasant shivers down his spine. "You humans and your endless capacity for turning awkward situations into opportunities. It's quite remarkable." "It's one of our better qualities," he agreed, "along with our adaptability and—" He paused meaningfully. "And our appreciation for beautiful alien cultures." Gyra's skin rippled with patterns of light that Jasper found utterly mesmerizing. "You know," she said, tracing the rim of her glass, "my species has some interesting cultural traditions regarding professional relationships evolving into personal ones." "Oh," Jasper leaned closer, genuinely intrigued. "Do tell." "Well, when a luminary, that's my species, feels an attraction to someone they've met through official duties, tradition dictates a period of mutual exploration." "Exploration," Jasper's voice carried a hint of playful suggestion. "Of minds first," Gira clarified, though her skin betrayed her own growing attraction with subtle pulses of light. "We believe true connection begins with understanding each other's thoughts, desires, and motivations." As they talked, their conversation deepened, moving from professional interest to personal philosophies. Gyra explained how her people viewed relationships as a gradual merging of energies, while Jasper shared human perspectives on love and attraction. "It's fascinating," Gyra mused, "how humans can form such intense bonds so quickly. My people typically take months just to reach the stage where physical contact is considered appropriate. And yet, here you are having drinks with someone you met during a security inspection," Jasper pointed out with a gentle smile. "Perhaps that's why humans intrigue us so much," she admitted. "You make us question our assumptions, challenge our traditions. It's both terrifying and exciting." Their eyes met across the table, and the air between them seemed to crackle with unspoken possibility. Jasper found himself increasingly drawn to the way Gyra's skin would pulse with different patterns depending on her emotions. Something he now realized was an involuntary response to her growing attraction. "You know," he said softly, "I've always believed that the best discoveries happen when we're willing to step outside our comfort zones." Gyra's skin rippled with a pattern he hadn't seen before. Something between anticipation and desire. "Speaking of discoveries," she said, her voice taking on a more serious tone, "I have access to the security logs for those missing ships. If you're really investigating these disappearances." "Are you suggesting we work together on this?" Jasper asked, intrigued by both the professional and personal implications. "It would be logical," she replied, her professional demeanor slightly undermined by the way her skin pulsed when their hands accidentally brushed. "You have contacts in the trading community. I have access to official channels. Together, we might actually solve this mystery. And the fact that we seem to have some chemistry is just a bonus," Jasper suggested with a knowing smile. "Purely coincidental," Gyra assured him, though her skin betrayed her with a flash of pink luminescence. "Though I must admit, human directness can be quite stimulating." As the artificial night cycle of the station deepened around them, their conversation continued to flow, punctuated by increasingly frequent moments of charged eye contact and accidental touches. The mystery of the disappearing ships provided a framework for their growing connection, but both knew something deeper was developing between them. The following morning found Jasper and Gyra in her private office, poring over classified reports. Her quarters, connected to the office through a discreet doorway, offered a comfortable setting for their investigation. The room's ambient lighting complemented Gyra's natural bioluminescence, creating an intimate atmosphere despite their professional focus. "Look at this," Gyra said, her fingertips brushing Jasper's arm as she pointed to her holoscreen. "Blood samples from the last known location of the Trinity vessel show unusual modifications to human DNA structures." Jasper leaned closer, deliberately letting his shoulder press against hers. "Modified how?" "The genetic sequences appear artificially enhanced," she explained, her skin pulsing with excitement, "both from the discovery and their proximity. Someone's attempting to isolate and amplify specific human traits." "Let me guess on our adaptability? Resilience?" Jasper's breath tickled her ear as he spoke. "More than that," Gyra turned to face him, their faces inches apart. "They're particularly interested in human reproductive capabilities. Your species' genetic flexibility is unique in the galaxy. The air between them crackled with unspoken tension. Ghira's skin rippled with patterns that reflected both professional fascination and personal desire. Speaking of human capabilities, Jasper murmured, I've noticed how intrigued you are by our biological traits. Ghira's skin flushed that now familiar silvery pink. Purely scientific interest, I assure you, she said, though her luminescent patterns suggested otherwise. Of course, he smiled, noting how her breath quickened when he moved closer. Just like your extensive research into human-alien compatibility? She'd left that particular database search visible on her secondary screen, an oversight that made her entire body pulse with embarrassment and arousal. The missing ships, she said firmly, though she didn't move away. We should focus on the way your skin glows brighter when I'm near? Jasper completed, his voice low and playful. That's an involuntary response to environmental factors, she managed, though her skin betrayed her with waves of iridescent light. Environmental factors like this? He traced a finger along her arm, watching in fascination as patterns of light followed his touch. Their professional pretense crumbled as months of cultural traditions yielded to undeniable attraction. Their first kiss was an explosion of sensations, her skin illuminating the room with pulses of pure light, his human warmth igniting responses her species had thought impossible. Hours later, lying in her quarters, Ghira marveled at how humans could turn even the most clinical examination into something profound. I never understood why the genetic researchers were so fixated on human DNA, she admitted, watching patterns of contentment dance across her skin. But now, Jasper propped himself up on an elbow, admiring how the afterglow made her entire body shimmer. Now I understand why they're so fascinated by human adaptability, she smiled, tracing patterns on his chest. You're full of surprises. Their moment of intimacy was interrupted by an urgent alert from her security console. New data about the missing ships had arrived, including disturbing details about genetic experiments being conducted on human crews. These patterns, Ghira frowned, studying the report. They're not just studying human DNA, they're trying to create hybrids. But why? Jasper reviewed the data, his expression darkening. Look at the genetic markers they're targeting. Reproductive compatibility, accelerated adaptation. They're trying to create a new species. A species with human reproductive capabilities and alien traits, Ghira realized, her skin pulsing with concern. But the genetic stability would be impossible unless they had access to both species' natural reproductive processes, Jasper finished grimly. They're not just studying the genetics. They're studying the actual process of human-alien reproduction. Ghira's skin flickered with understanding. The missing ships, the genetic samples, they're gathering data, but they couldn't possibly know about us. Maybe not yet, Jasper said, pulling her closer protectively. But we need to find these researchers before they start expanding their test subjects. Their personal and professional lives had become irrevocably intertwined. What started as a security inspection had evolved into something neither of them had expected, a connection that could help them understand the very mysteries they were trying to solve. Deep within Starbase Primus's restricted archives, Ghira's fingers danced across the holographic interface while Jasper kept watch. Her skin's natural glow provided just enough light to work by, dimmed to avoid detection. These access logs, she whispered, her luminescence flickering with concern. Commander Rylith has been accessing classified files about human genetic research almost daily. Jasper moved closer, his presence sending pleasant ripples across her skin despite the tension. Your superior officer? Yes, and look at these coordinates. Her fingers trembled slightly as she pulled up a star chart. They matched the last known locations of several missing ships. Careful, Jasper cautioned, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. If your commander's involved... A noise from the corridor silenced them. Jasper pulled Ghira into a shadowy alcove, their bodies pressed together in the confined space. Her skin automatically dimmed, adapting to their need for stealth, though the places where their bodies touched still pulsed with a faint, intimate glow. Your species' ability to control your bioluminescence is remarkable, Jasper murmured against her ear once the danger passed. Not entirely controlled right now, she admitted, her skin betraying her arousal where his breath tickled her neck. You make it difficult to maintain discipline. I've noticed, he smiled, deliberately shifting against her, like during that first inspection. Which was completely professional, she protested weakly, her whole body shimmering. Of course. Very thorough. Their playful moment was interrupted by a shocking discovery on the screen. Detailed plans for a research facility hidden in an abandoned mining colony containing what appeared to be holding cells specifically designed for human subjects. These containment specifications, Gira analyzed, forcing herself to focus despite their intimate proximity. They're meant to neutralize human strength while preserving reproductive capabilities. And look who authorized the construction. Jasper pointed to a signature. Commander Rylith. Gyra's skin pulsed with anger and betrayal. He's been my mentor since I joined security. I trusted him. Hey, Jasper turned her to face him, cupping her face. This isn't your fault. Their eyes met in the dim light, and for a moment, the weight of their discovery was overshadowed by the intensity of their connection. Gyra's skin illuminated with patterns Jasper had come to recognize as desire, mixed with deep emotional attachment. We should probably move this somewhere more private, she suggested, though her body language suggested she was reluctant to break contact. Back in her quarters, they planned their next move between increasingly passionate encounters. Their physical intimacy had evolved into something beyond mere attraction. Each touch now carried the weight of shared purpose and growing emotional bonds. The facility's security systems are based on luminary biosignatures, Gyra explained later, tracing patterns on Jasper's chest as they lay entwined. I can get us in, but your commander will know it was you, Jasper finished, pulling her closer protectively. Yes, and there's something else. Her skin pulsed with nervous energy. I've been feeling different since we've been together. My biological readings are showing unusual patterns. Jasper propped himself up on an elbow, suddenly alert. Different how? Remember those genetic compatibility studies we found? Her skin rippled with a mix of anxiety and excitement. It seems humans and Luminary are more compatible than anyone suspected. We're... Understanding dawned on Jasper's face. Are you saying... I'm carrying your child, she confirmed, her entire body glowing with a new, previously unseen pattern. The first natural human-Luminary hybrid? Jasper's stunned silence was broken by a sudden pounding at the door. Security Officer Gyrathan, Commander Rylith's voice boomed. Open up immediately. They know, Gyra whispered, her skin paling to a frightened blue. Somehow they detected the changes in my biology. Get dressed, Jasper ordered, already moving. We're getting out of here. Now. As they hurriedly prepared for escape, Gyra accessed the station's security systems one last time. The research facility has 23 human captive, she reported. They're being prepared for forced breeding experiments. Then that's where we're headed, Jasper declared, checking his weapon. Ready to break every regulation in your security manual? Gyra's skin pulsed with determination as she grabbed her own weapon. For you, for our child, and for those prisoners? Absolutely. The maintenance tunnels of Starbase Primus thrummed with energy as Jasper and Gyra navigated the labyrinth of service corridors. Her bioluminescence, dimmed to its lowest setting, provided just enough light to move safely while avoiding detection. The docking bay is 2 levels down, Gyra whispered, her skin pulsing with nervous energy. My security codes should still work, but they'll be watching the official exits, Jasper finished, his hand resting protectively over her abdomen. The gesture made her skin shimmer with affection, despite their dire situation. I've activated the emergency protocols I installed, she said, interfacing with a nearby terminal. The station's communication array will broadcast a coded distress signal to the human defense fleet in exactly 10 minutes. Jasper raised an eyebrow. You had that ready. I may have been preparing for various contingencies since our first encounter. Her skin flickered with a mixture of embarrassment and pride. Something about you made me want to have backup plans. Was it my charming personality? He teased, trying to lighten the tension. Or just what you discovered during that thorough inspection? Her skin pulsed with that now familiar pink glow. Focus, Jasper. Though I must admit, human ability to maintain humor in crisis situations is remarkably attractive. A sudden commotion above them cut their banter short, Commander Ryleth's voice echoed through the station's communication system. "Attention all personnel. Security Officer Gyra Thon has been compromised by human biological influence. She and her human companion are to be detained immediately. They are carrying genetic material vital to station security." "Genetic material?" Jasper scoffed. "That's a creative way of describing our baby." "They never expected natural conception to be possible," Gyra explained as they descended through an access shaft. "Their experiments were failing because they couldn't replicate the emotional component of human reproduction." "You mean love?" Jasper helped her down the final stretch, taking the opportunity to pull her close. "Among other things," she smiled, her whole body illuminating briefly at his touch. "Human passion, spontaneity, the way you transform even clinical situations into moments of connection." Security forces could be heard approaching. They ducked into a narrow maintenance crawl space, pressed together in the confined space. The intimate contact made Gyra's skin ripple with waves of light that she struggled to suppress. "Your biology betrays you, officer," Jasper whispered teasingly against her neck. "Your fault entirely," she breathed back. "You and your impressive human attributes." Once the patrol passed, they continued their descent toward the emergency shuttle bay. Gyra's security expertise and Jasper's natural talent for improvisation made them an effective team, evading detection through a combination of technical skill and unpredictable tactics. "Wait!" Gyra suddenly halted, her skin pulsing with realization. "The research data, we can't let them keep it." "We're a bit busy escaping," Jasper reminded her. "No, you don't understand. With the data they've collected, they could continue their experiments elsewhere. And now that they know successful human luminary breeding is possible," Jasper understood immediately, "they'll never stop hunting us or the others. Where's the data stored?" "Main computer core, 2 sections over, but it's heavily guarded." A sly smile crossed Jasper's face. "Remember how we met? Sometimes the best way to hide something is in plain sight." Minutes later, Jasper strode confidently through the main corridor toward the computer core, wearing a stolen security uniform. Gyra, using her codes, had temporarily looped the security feeds. "Halt!" a guard commanded. "This area is restricted during the current alert." Jasper straightened, projecting authority. "Special security detail. Commander Ryleth's orders. We received intelligence that the fugitives might target the data cores." The guard hesitated, then noticed an apparent bulge in Jasper's uniform. "Sir, I'll need to perform a security check." "Of course," Jasper smiled, remembering how a similar situation had led him to Gyra. "Though I should warn you, your colleague, Officer Gyrathan, can confirm that such inspections can lead to unexpected situations." The guard's confusion provided just enough distraction for Gyra, hidden above in the maintenance shaft, to trigger the emergency fire suppression system. In the chaos that followed, Jasper slipped into the computer core, planted the virus Gyra had prepared, and rejoined her in the service tunnels. "Did you just use our first meeting to bluff your way past security?" Gyra asked as they rushed toward the shuttle bay. "Seemed appropriate," he grinned, "though I saved my actual inspections for one officer only now." Her skin pulsed with both amusement and desire. "We really need to work on your timing for flirtation." They reached the emergency shuttle just as alarms began blaring throughout the station. The virus was destroying not only the research data, but also spreading through all backup systems. "The human defense fleet will receive our signal in 2 minutes," Gyra reported as she prepared the shuttle for launch. Ready to make history as the first official human luminary family, Jasper pulled her into a passionate kiss, making her entire body illuminate like a newborn star. "Ready to make history with you in every way possible." The emergency shuttle's engines whined as Jasper pushed them beyond recommended speeds. Behind them, Commander Ryleth's sleek pursuit vessel closed the distance, its weapons already powered up. "Human defense fleet signals they're 15 minutes out," Gyra reported, her skin pulsing with anxiety as she worked the tactical console. "But Ryleth will catch us in 5. "Then we'll have to get creative," Jasper grinned, executing a maneuver that should have torn the shuttle apart. The hull groaned in protest but held. That's impossible," Gyra gasped, her skin flickering with amazement. "These shuttles aren't designed for such stress levels. Humans have a talent for exceeding design limitations." He winked. "Something you've experienced firsthand." Her skin flushed that lovely pink shade he'd come to adore. "Focus on flying, you impossible man." A warning shot from Rylith's ship streaked past their port side. The commander's voice crackled over their comm. "Officer Gyrathan, your human companion has corrupted you both physically and mentally. Surrender now and we can study your condition. Perhaps even reverse it." "Reverse it?" Jasper scoffed. He still thinks this is some kind of infection. Gyra's hand instinctively moved to her abdomen, her skin glowing with protective determination. They never understood. What we have isn't a contamination, it's evolution. Another blast rocked their shuttle. Jasper dove toward a nearby asteroid field, using maneuvers that made Gyra's skin pulse with both terror and exhilaration. "How are you doing this?" she asked, watching him navigate impossible gaps between rocks. "Remember our first night together?" he replied, threading the needle between two massive asteroids. "How you said humans have an amazing ability to adapt to new situations?" Her skin rippled with pleasant memories. "You certainly proved that point repeatedly." "Well, same principle applies here. We see limitations differently than most species. Where others see solid barriers, we see possibilities." A massive explosion behind them punctuated his point as Rylith's larger ship couldn't match their agility, clipping an asteroid and spinning off course. "Speaking of possibilities," Gyra said, her skin pulsing with an idea, "my pregnancy seems to be affecting my bioluminescence in unexpected ways. If I can channel enough energy..." She concentrated, and suddenly her entire body blazed with brilliant light. The energy surge interfered with Rylith's sensors, giving them precious seconds to dive deeper into the asteroid field. "That's new," Jasper observed admiringly. "Any other surprising abilities I should know about?" "Well," her skin shimmered playfully despite their situation. "I've noticed increased sensitivity to certain human attributes." "Officer Gyrathan." Rylith's voice interrupted again, now tinged with desperation. "Your offspring represents a breakthrough in genetic engineering. Think of the possibilities." "The only possibility I'm interested in," Gyra responded, finally breaking radio silence, "is the one where Jasper showed me that some things can't be engineered. They have to be discovered naturally." Jasper smiled at her words while executing another impossible turn. "Like how a security inspection can lead to love?" "Exactly," she agreed, her skin pulsing with affection, "though I still maintain that initial Bulge was suspicious." "And now you know exactly what I was hiding?" he teased, making her entire body flash with a luminescent pleasure. Their banter was interrupted by multiple new contacts on their sensors. The human defense fleet had arrived early, their massive ships dropping out of hyperspace in a display of overwhelming force. "This is Admiral Holloway of the HDF," a new voice announced on all frequencies. "Commander Rylith, power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. We have received evidence of illegal genetic experimentation and unlawful detention of human citizens." Rylith's response was to fire directly at their shuttle's engines. Jasper rolled them behind a larger asteroid just in time, but the blast clipped their stabilizers. "We're losing power," Gyra reported, her hands dancing across the controls. "But I might have one more trick." She stood, moving behind Jasper's pilot chair, and wrapped her arms around him. Her skin began to glow with increasing intensity, the energy somehow interfacing with the shuttle's failing systems. "The pregnancy has created some sort of biomechanical resonance," she explained, her voice strained but excited. "I can channel power directly from my bioluminescence into the ship's systems." Jasper felt the controls come back to life under his hands, now pulsing with the same beautiful patterns as Gyra's skin. "You're amazing," he breathed, feeling their connection manifesting in yet another unexpected way. "Less flirting, more flying," she managed, though her skin betrayed how much she enjoyed his praise. Together, they guided their glowing shuttle out of the asteroid field just as the human defense fleet engaged Rylith's ship. The commander, realizing he was trapped, made one final, desperate attempt to ram them. "Ready to make history again?" Jasper asked, his hands steady on the controls. "With you?" Gyra's light pulsed in sync with her heartbeat against his back. "Always." Aboard the human defense fleet flagship Intrepid, Jasper and Gyra found themselves at the center of an unprecedented diplomatic crisis. Admiral Holloway's private conference room buzzed with tension as representatives from both species argued over the implications of their relationship. "This is outrageous," the luminary ambassador proclaimed, his pale blue skin barely glowing compared to Gyra's vibrant radiance. Officer Gyrathan's condition violates dozens of interspecies protocols. Protocols designed to prevent forced genetic manipulation, Admiral Holloway countered, gesturing to the couple. What we have here is entirely natural. Gyra's skin pulsed with defiance as she stood, her pregnancy now visible as a subtle shimmer beneath her uniform. With respect, Ambassador, nothing about my condition was engineered or forced. In fact, it proves something your scientists claimed impossible. Impossible without extensive genetic modification. A new voice interrupted. All heads turned as Commander Rylith was led in, shackled but still emanating authority. Or so our partners assured us. Jasper tensed, his protective instincts flaring. Partners? Rylith's smile was cold. Did you think Starbase Primus acted alone? The consortium has spent centuries studying human reproductive capabilities. Your species' genetic flexibility is unique. The consortium? Admiral Holloway leaned forward. What consortium? Various species, all interested in humanity's remarkable ability to adapt and breed with nearly any compatible humanoid species, Rylith explained, his eyes fixed on Gyra's pregnant form. The Arcturians, the Pleiadians, even the Andromedans. Gyra's skin flashed with sudden understanding. The missing ships, they weren't just your experiments. Different species, different methods, same goal, Rylith confirmed, though none achieved what you two managed naturally. Quite impressive, really. That first inspection revealed more than just anatomical compatibility, didn't it, Officer Gyrathan? Gyra's skin pulsed pink, but she held her ground. It revealed that humans possess something your experiments could never replicate, the ability to turn even the most clinical encounter into a moment of genuine connection. Jasper took her hand, making her whole body shimmer. Some things can't be engineered. Fascinating, a new voice purred. A tall, elegant figure emerged from the shadows. An Andromedan diplomat, their crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. You suggest emotional bonds are the key component we've been missing. They're not components at all, Jasper argued, pulling Gyra closer. You can't reduce human relationships to scientific variables. The Andromedan tilted their crystalline head. Yet here you stand, living proof that such bonds can create what our most advanced genetic engineering could not. Because we didn't try to force it, Gyra interjected, her skin pulsing with passionate conviction. It happened naturally, beginning with a simple security inspection that could have been awkward, but instead became something more… yes, the Andromedan's form sparkled with amusement. The infamous Bulge incident. Our monitoring systems recorded the entire encounter. Most illuminating. Gyra's skin flashed with embarrassment while Jasper struggled not to laugh. You were monitoring that? We monitor everything, Rylith stated. Though I must admit, none of our predictive models anticipated this outcome. Admiral Holloway cleared his throat. Perhaps that's the point. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our genetic flexibility. It's our ability to forge genuine connections in unexpected ways. The Andromedan's crystalline form pulsed thoughtfully. A diplomatic solution suggests itself. Rather than continuing these questionable experiments, perhaps we should focus on facilitating natural interactions between species. Like how a simple security checkpoint can lead to interstellar peace, Jasper suggested, making Gyra's skin ripple with affectionate amusement. Precisely, the Andromedan agreed, though perhaps with less invasive initial inspections. I don't know, Gyra teased, her skin pulsing playfully. That particular inspection worked out rather well. The meeting evolved into serious diplomatic discussions, with Jasper and Gyra's unique situation serving as a template for new interspecies protocols. The consortium's illegal experiments were exposed and shut down, but their research facilities were converted into cultural exchange centers. Later, in their private quarters aboard the Intrepid, Gyra's skin danced with patterns of joy as she felt their child move. To think all of this started because you had something suspicious in your pants. Jasper pulled her close, making her whole body illuminate. I believe you were the suspicious one, officer. I was just happy to comply with your thorough inspection. Very thorough, she agreed, her skin pulsing with desire. Though I think I might need to conduct a follow-up examination. For diplomatic purposes, of course. Of course, he murmured against her neck, making her glow brighter. Anything for interstellar peace. The medical bay of the Intrepid glowed with an otherworldly light as Gyra held their newborn son, Kyrian. The baby's skin pulsed with a unique pattern, swirling combinations of human pigmentation and luminary bioluminescence that responded to his emotions. "He's perfect," Jasper whispered, watching in awe as their son's skin mimicked the loving patterns displayed on Gyra's. "And completely unprecedented," Dr. Harrison added, reviewing the medical scans. "His genetic structure shows complete stability, something the consortium never achieved artificially." Gyra's skin shimmered with maternal pride, because they never understood that love isn't just an emotional concept, it's a biological catalyst. Their moment of family bonding was interrupted by an urgent message from Admiral Holloway. "We found something in the abandoned consortium facilities. Something you both need to see." Hours later, with Kyrian safely monitored in the medical bay, Jasper and Gyra stood in a secret laboratory deep within a former consortium base. The facility's walls were lined with stasis pods, each containing failed hybrid experiments. "These weren't just random attempts," Gyra observed, her security training kicking in as she analyzed the data. "They were trying to recreate something specific, something they'd seen before. Ancient genetic markers," Jasper read from a terminal. "They found evidence of successful human-alien hybridization from thousands of years ago." "More than evidence," Admiral Holloway gestured to a sealed chamber. "They found preserved specimens." The chamber contained what appeared to be naturally preserved remains of beings that shared traits with both humans and various alien species. Their DNA patterns matched perfectly with Kyrian's unique genetic structure. "Impossible," Gyra breathed, her skin pulsing with shock. "These are dated over 10,000 years old." "Not impossible," a familiar, crystalline voice announced. The Andromedan diplomat emerged from the shadows. "Merely forgotten. Humans weren't just compatible with other species. They were designed to be." "Designed?" Jasper questioned, instinctively moving closer to Gyra. "Your species' remarkable genetic flexibility isn't random," the Andromedan explained. "It was engineered by an ancient race, one that foresaw the need for unity among the stars." Gyra's skin flickered with understanding. "The luminary legends of the Lightbringers, they weren't myths." "No," the Andromedan confirmed. They were scientists who understood that true unity couldn't be forced through artificial means. It had to develop naturally, through genuine connection. "Like a security inspection gone wonderfully wrong," Jasper suggested, making Gyra's skin pulse with affectionate remembrance. "Precisely," the Andromedan's form sparkled with amusement. "Your son represents the reawakening of abilities that have laid dormant in human DNA for millennia." Back in their quarters, watching Kyrian's skin shimmer with peaceful sleep patterns, Gyra pressed against Jasper with familiar desire. "To think, all of this started because I was suspicious of what you were hiding in your pants. And now we know what I was really hiding," he murmured, making her skin ripple with anticipation. "The key to unlocking humanity's greatest purpose." "Through the most primitive method possible," she teased, her whole body illuminating at his touch. "Nothing primitive about it," he argued playfully, "just the most natural way to forge connections between species." Their passionate reunion was interrupted by Kyrian displaying a new ability. His skin's patterns suddenly projected holographic images of ancient star maps. "Well," Jasper observed, reluctantly pulling away from Gyra. "That's new. The consortium's remaining facilities," Gyra realized, studying the projections. "He's showing us where to find more answers." "Our son," Jasper grinned, "taking after his mother with the thorough investigations." Gyra's skin pulsed with both maternal pride and lingering desire. "Speaking of thorough investigations," the scout ship Luminous Venture sliced through hyperspace, following the coordinates projected by young Kyrian's increasingly powerful abilities. In their private quarters, Jasper watched as Gyra prepared their son for another session of map reading, her skin glowing with maternal pride. "His projections are getting stronger," as she noted, as Kyrian's skin illuminated with complex patterns that transformed into holographic star charts. "And more specific, like father, like son," Jasper smirked. "We both have a talent for revealing unexpected things." Gyra's skin pulsed with that familiar pink hue. "I hope he didn't inherit your tendency for suspicious bulges." Their playful banter was interrupted by a proximity alert. The ship dropped out of hyperspace near an unmarked system, and where an ancient space station hung suspended among the stars, its architecture unlike anything in known space. "That's not in any database," Gyra observed, her security training evident in her cautious analysis. "But look at those energy readings. It's still active." Before they could investigate further, multiple ships emerged from stealth mode around them. Their designs were as alien as the station itself. "Greetings, harbingers," a melodious voice transmitted. "We've been expecting you since the child's awakening." "Harbingers?" Jasper questioned, instinctively moving closer to his family. "Those who herald the return," the voice explained. "We are the Guardians, tasked with protecting the legacy until the proper union occurred naturally." Kieran's skin suddenly blazed with light, projecting images of the ancient race that had engineered humanity's unique genetic flexibility. The beings appeared as creatures of pure energy, capable of taking any form. "The Lightbringers," Gyra breathed, her own skin resonating with her son's projections. "Yes," the Guardian confirmed. "They foresaw that forced evolution would lead to conflict. True unity could only come through natural attraction and genuine connection." "Like being attracted to someone even during a security inspection?" Jasper suggested, making Gyra's skin ripple with remembered desire. "Precisely," the Guardian's voice carried a note of amusement. "Your initial encounter demonstrated exactly what the Lightbringers intended, the ability to forge connections in unexpected moments. They were escorted to the station, where ancient technology responded to Kirian's unique genetic signature. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with the same patterns as his skin. Your son carries the complete genetic key," the Guardian explained, now appearing as a being of shifting light. "A perfect blend of human adaptability and luminary energy manipulation." "That's why others are hunting us," Gyra realized, her skin darkening with concern. "They've detected his abilities." "Yes," the Guardian confirmed. "The legacy contains knowledge that could reshape the galaxy, for better or worse. The Lightbringers believed only those who achieved natural harmony between species could be trusted with such power." In their assigned quarters that evening, after putting Kirian to sleep, Jasper pulled Gyra close, making her skin dance with light. "Remember when our biggest concern was explaining why I had something suspicious in my pants? Now look at us," she murmured, her body illuminating at his touch. "Parents to a genetic key, pursued by mysterious forces, discovering ancient secrets. Still suspicious of what I'm hiding?" he teased, making her entire form pulse with desire. "Always," she breathed, her skin patterns shifting to those intimate frequencies only he could invoke. "I may need to conduct another thorough inspection." Their passionate reunion was interrupted by Kirian projecting new images. Warnings of approaching danger. Ships were emerging from hyperspace, their designs matching known hostile factions who had learned of their discovery. "They're after our son," Gyra stated, her skin pulsing with protective fury. "They'll have to get through us first," Jasper declared, already moving to defensive stations. The Guardian appeared in their quarters. "The legacy must be protected, but not through conflict. Your son has revealed another way. Show them." Kirian's skin blazed with new patterns, projecting not just images, but emotions. The pure, powerful feeling of connection that had brought his parents together. The natural harmony that had allowed his existence. "He's broadcasting our love story," Gyra realized, her skin synchronizing with their son's patterns. "The ultimate security inspection," Jasper quipped, though his voice was thick with emotion, "revealing not what we're hiding, but what we're offering." The ancient station's crystalline walls resonated with Kirian's broadcast, amplifying his projection of pure connection throughout space. The approaching hostile ships slowed as their crews experienced the raw emotion of Jasper and Gyra's journey, from that first charged security inspection to their current status as guardians of an ancient legacy. "They're receiving more than just memories," the Guardian observed, its luminescent form shifting with approval. "They're feeling the truth the Lightbringers knew, that genuine connection transcends all barriers." Gyra's skin pulsed with understanding as she watched the hostile ships power down their weapons. "He's showing them what they've been seeking all along, not just genetic compatibility, but true harmony." Jasper wrapped an arm around her waist, making her skin shimmer with familiar pleasure. Who knew that suspicious bulge would lead to galactic peace? The station's central chamber activated, responding to their family's combined energy signatures. Ancient technology merged with Kirian's natural abilities, transforming the space into a massive projection of the Lightbringer's final message. "Behold our true legacy," the Guardian announced as images filled the chamber. Not just the power to connect species, but the wisdom to nurture those connections. The station revealed itself as more than just a repository of knowledge. It was a nexus point designed to identify, protect, and support natural human-alien relationships throughout the galaxy. Advanced medical facilities, cultural integration centers, and defensive systems all waited to be awakened by the right combination of genetics and genuine love. The Lightbringers didn't just engineer humanity's adaptability. Kyra realized, her skin patterns synchronizing with the station's energy. They created safe havens for it to flourish. "And now it's our job to open them," Jasper added, watching as Kyrian's projections interfaced with the ancient systems. A whole network of stations waiting for couples like us. The formerly hostile ships were now requesting permission to dock. Their crews, transformed by Kieran's broadcast, wanted to understand more about this natural path to unity. "Your son's abilities aren't just for defense," the Guardian explained. "They're for healing, for showing others the way. Just as your initial encounter demonstrated how inspection could lead to connection." "Speaking of inspection," Gira interrupted, her skin flickering with mischievous patterns, "I believe we have some new quarters to examine thoroughly." Jasper grinned, recognizing the intimate frequencies in her bioluminescence. Always the dedicated security officer. Their playful moment was interrupted by Kyrian projecting a new image, one of future possibilities. They saw other human-alien couples finding each other, their genuine connections, activating more stations across the galaxy. A network of harmony spreading through space, all stemming from one security officer's suspicious inspection of a human's natural attributes. Years later, the station had become a thriving hub for interspecies relations. Jasper and Gyri, now respected leaders in the galactic community, had helped countless couples navigate the path they'd pioneered. Their quarters, high in the station's residential section, offered a perfect view of ships arriving from across the galaxy, carrying people seeking their own connections. "Remember when you thought I was smuggling contraband?" Jasper teased, pulling Gyra close as they watched a new group of couples arrive. Her skin pulsed with those same pink patterns he'd first inspired years ago. "Well, you were hiding something important, the key to unlocking humanity's greatest purpose. Through the most traditional method possible," he murmured against her neck, making her entire body illuminate. "The most effective method," she corrected, turning in his arms. "Perhaps we should conduct another inspection for old time's sake." Their passionate reunion was briefly interrupted by Kyrian's amused projection, showing how their story had become legend throughout the galaxy. The security inspection that changed everything. "Our son has your sense of humor," Drira observed, her skin shimmering with joy. "And your thoroughness," Jasper added proudly. "He leaves no detail unexplored." The station hummed with the energy of new connections forming. New couples discovering what Jasper and Gyra had found during that fateful inspection, that love transcends all barriers, that genuine connection can't be forced or engineered, and that sometimes the most suspicious circumstances can lead to the most beautiful outcomes. You know, Gyra mused, her skin displaying those intimate patterns only Jasper could invoke. "I never did complete that initial inspection properly." "Well, officer," he grinned, pulling her closer, "I'm always happy to comply with security protocols." Their laughter, mingled with the pulse of their combined energy signatures, echoed through the station. A testament to the power of natural connection and proof that sometimes the most important things we hide are the very things meant to be found.